Welcome to this session. In this session, we will be dealing with scripting for television. Television dominates the media world with its unique performances of instant audiovisual broadcasting ability. Television is an invisible member in our family which feeds us with many kinds of information consciously and unconsciously. Script is a master for the whole audiovisual shooting. Based on it, the whole production is decided whether it is a high budget production, medium budget production or a low budget production. Writing for television is all about converting the writings into audio and video elements. For this, the most important and fundamental thing is to learn the characteristics of the television medium. Major features of television medium. The domestic nature of this audiovisual medium makes it an intimate medium and makes the viewers experience a sense of closeness to the characters in a serial or to the anchors of a show. It provides entertainment and information right inside our homes and has become an integral part of our everyday lives and can actually pattern our daily activities. The print medium has an impersonal tone, whereas the television addresses us directly. This makes the viewers experience a sense of closeness to the television. It is an ideal medium to transmit messages to a large audience. In a country like ours, where a large population of illiterates exist, this character of television makes it a perfect instrument for transmitting social messages. Television has a very wide output, range and reach which makes it a true mass medium. Scripting for television. Script is considered as a backbone or blueprint for any production. Script writing for audiovisual media requires a special kind of talent. The script writer should keep in mind the language and grammar of audiovisual medium. When you are able to show, don't tell, and when it is not possible to show, then tell, but always show and tell. Since the television screen is small, close-up shots should be used for clarity of the visuals, and to give the sense of orientation, long shots are used. Close shots and medium shots predominate in the selection of a very big range of shots. Since the script writer is working within terrific time limitations, his or her purpose is to select the right fragment and pictures that most effectively tell the story, while discarding the excess ones. The writer's view must shift from the words to the picture. A good visual sense, timing and rhythm and the ability to resonate with the audience is crucial while writing scripts for the television. If the writer has no sense of what the view must want, the stories will not be marketable. You should need a flair for the dramatic because first and foremost, your job is to entertain your viewers. The script writer has only three tools: locales, action and dialogue. One should choose the right locales to obtain the best shots. The action or narrative describes what is taking place in the pictures to be shot. And dialogue is what is being said in the picture. Together, these tools combine and create the scene, the unit of action which moves the story forward. We'll move on to locale. The locale means the place or the visual setting used to tell the story. Since it is a place, it has an interior or exterior and has a time. The time can be either day or night. The scriptwriter creates a locale and the director decides how to shoot it. The action or narrative. Like other elements in the script, narrative should be lean. Some locales require more narrative than others. Style of narrative writing varies depending on the writers. Writing good narrative is a challenge. The scriptwriter must always ask himself or herself what words can descriptively or symbolically express the message across. We come to the next, which is dialogue. Dialogue is a vital and crucial element of all scripts. Good dialogues reveal character and provide conflict. It works on two levels, the spoken words and the unspoken. The dialogue provides exposition, communicates facts, and moves forward the plot. Like music, good dialogue also has a natural pace and rhythm. A good dialogue always comes after knowing the character, because each character has his or her voice. A character's voice comes from the person's perception about the world and is developed through experience. No two characters can ever have the same voice. Good dialogue is always a rewritten one, and it is during this stage it is sharpened and trimmed. All dialogue should move the action forward, and anything irrelevant should be chopped off. Once a dialogue is written, read it aloud. You will naturally know the flaws and edit the excess or awkward wording, and you will also become aware of the pacing and tempo. The dialogue works on two levels: what is being said and its intended meaning. Subtext is a layer of dialogue where characters hide. It is where they camouflage their true intentions and feelings. It's a part of themselves that they don't want to show. As a writer, you know your character's weak spots, and it's your job to uncover them. Scene. Each scene varies in length, from a single shot to 3.5 pages long, and sometimes longer than that. But 5 to 6 page scenes are terrible. They kill the momentum and the pace of the script, indicating that the scriptwriter has not yet grabbed the medium. There are some exceptions to this rule. The establishing scene or shot establishes where we are. It can be neither an exterior nor an interior. The dialogue scene conveys the information, reveals the character, conflicts and feelings. The scene sequence is a series of scenes tied together by a single idea. Sequences essentially use the same elements and serve the same purpose as a scene. They are helpful in cutting between locales, maintaining continuity and keeping the picture moving. All scenes and sequences have a crisis and a resolution. For example, let's assume that we are constructing an action sequence in which the dramatic action is a car winding its way along an icy road. Suddenly, another car coming from the opposite direction spins out of control and careens over the center divider. Here, the crisis begins. At this point, the action could go either way, but an outcome is unavoidable. The car crash event is the climax, and it is a high point of the dramatic action. What happens to the people inside the car? Do they live or die? The answers to these questions lead to the resolution part of the sequence. Script writing process. Quality script writing demands a solid grasp of production aesthetics and the entire production process. The script writing process has several distinct stages like research, premise or synopsis, story outline, treatment, proposal, rough draft, final draft, scene script, shooting script. The beginning stage of script writing is a research phase. Before writing a script, a detailed research must be carried out. Research provides insurance against presenting incredible stories or conveying incorrect information. The overall quality of a program directly depends on the quality of the research undertaken for the development of the script. Careful research is both a form of assurance and a source of inspiration. It can protect a producer or director from legal actions. It is often needed to find hard facts from reliable sources to support a basic statement or argument. Thorough inquiry of a subject often leads to the exposure of information that stimulates the creative process and challenges and motivates the viewer. Research is a creative process of revealing new sources of information. General understanding of the topic stimulates the creation of insightful questions that can be raised during interviews with an expert or a participant in the events. The more knowledgeable a writer becomes, the more information he or she will extract from additional sources of information. A premise or synopsis and other story outline may be drafted after the research phase and before a treatment is prepared. Every good treatment is preceded by the writing of a simple idea or concept called a premise, which consists of one or more paragraphs that describe the basic storyline. On the basis of the synopsis, an outline can be written, developing the major plot lines and characters in the story. This outline defines all major actions and character reactions. Usually, several outlines are written and revised before the treatment is created. A treatment is an important step in the development of a script. It provides a guide for writing a complete script. It provides a narrative summary of the basic storyline. A treatment visualizes the story as it will unfold on the screen and gives a picture of all the major actions and scenes in a reduced form. A treatment is a plot description in a short story form and is used primarily as part of a proposal submitted to a potential funding source. Scriptwriters often initiate a television project by writing a treatment. The major portion of the treatment is highly visual, concise, and narrative presentation of characters and events. A treatment must excite and interest a producer or funding source and serve as a thorough and helpful guide for the writing of a script or screenplay. A script may go through several drafts and involve the participation of several writers before it is ready for production. The final stage is the preparation of a shooting script, which indicates all camera placements, transition devices, and various types of effects. Next, we'll move on to scripting for fiction and non-fiction. Script writing can be divided into two basic categories: fiction and non-fiction. Feature films, television serials, interactive games, and animated productions originated from works of fiction, whereas documentaries, news programs, interactive educational or training productions are works of non-fiction. Fictional scripts generally present dramatic stories imaginatively invented by the scriptwriter. Non-fiction scripts often convey information or rhetorical arguments concerning various topics regarding issues and actual historical events. To write scripts for fiction, lots of research should be done based on the subject matter. Even though it is fictional reality should be brought out for the audience to believe the story as real. Research should be done to make the audience to have belief in the fiction. When a writer creates a fictional world, he or she should be true to the fictional world and build logic in and around the fictional world. While writing for fiction, physical issues, social issues, political issues, character psychology, and technical aspects related to the story should be studied in depth. Non-fiction programs deal with facts and reality. The scriptwriter should do excellent research work on the subject matter before proceeding for production. Reading books and other print materials related to the topic, interviewing subject expert, and getting the guidance of the subject expert on the selected topic can guide you properly for making any kind of non-fictional programs. Script writing for fiction. Most of the dramas and narratives draw on everyday life and experience. Effective works of fiction are often shaped and improved by carefully coordinating and structuring the dramatic actions and narrative events and eliminating the unexciting moments of life so that viewers' interest can be intensified. Fictional scriptwriting has a potential to combine certain elements of dramatic and narrative structure, and a successful work of fiction usually makes the effective use of basic structural elements. Feature films and television programs follow the pattern of basic 3-act structure. Act 1 is the setup, Act 2 is the confrontation, and in Act 3 we have the resolution. The screenplays mostly revolve around the main characters, the protagonist, who is the hero or the heroine, and the antagonist, which is the villain, who engage themselves in a battle, and this is known as a setup stage. The antagonist and the protagonist try with all their strength to win the battle. That is a confrontation stage. In the resolution stage, the final stage or climax, the triumph of the good or the protagonist wins over the evil or the antagonist. However, there are rare exceptions. What happens in Act 1? Act 1 usually sets up the main plot by establishing the central characters, their goals, conflicts, as well as the basic time, place and situation of the story. It usually begins with the powerful images that convey the crucial focus, pace and style of the television program. We are often introduced to a major theme in addition to the time and place of the story. In Act 1, the main plot action is usually initiated and pushed by an impulsive event. The impulsive event can be an action, a piece of dialogue, or a situation that helps to establish the basic spin or direction of the main plot. In Act 1, some backstory such as flashbacks into a character's past or some discussion of a particular character's life by other characters is required for learning more about the characters. A dramatic scene, that is, a series of actions or events occurring at one time and place, may consist of several beats or dramatic moments. What about Act 2? Act 2 usually begins with the first turning point. A turning point substantially changes or reverses the direction of the plot. During Act 2, the primary as well as the secondary characters and the subplots are more developed than in Act 1. Complications develop which sometimes act as barriers to a character's successful accomplishment of his or her goals. In Act 3, the second turning point usually initiates Act 3 and speeds up the action. Act 3 provides a sense of urgency and drives the story towards its conclusion. Actions begin towards a climax, where the conflicts originating in Act 1 are resolved and the main plot and the subplot come together. Act 1, this is the beginning. We create a problem for a character or the audience. Who's the protagonist? What's his problem? How does it become his mission in the story? Who's the antagonist? First 1/4 of the story is in this part. It describes what is the locale, who are the major players, what are the major conflicts or problems, and it also deals with what is the narrative enigma. Will the boy get the girl? Will planet Earth be destroyed? Major themes, a conspicuous element which repeats, will be shown here. A mood is established and conventions are established such as voiceover, moving camera, etc. Plot point 1, the plot thickens. The inciting incident. It turns the story in a new direction. It sets up what Act 2 is going to be. It raises the stakes. It reminds of the narrative enigma and it presents the possibility of a different outcome too. Act 2, this is the middle section of the story. At least half of the entire story happens in Act 2. There is a struggle to achieve the solution to a problem. Further complications to finding the solution are also presented in Act 2. The cycle of struggles and complications are called reversals. Plot point 2, the longest mile. This is also known as the climactic turning point. The protagonist's quest reaches a critical mass. Possible solution is presented and the biggest cliffhanger, will the protagonist win or lose, is presented in Act 2. Act 3, the end. Here, the protagonist achieves his mission. No more than quarter of the story is presented here, usually it is much lesser. The conflict or the problem is resolved and the final crisis happens in a rising action, and this plays out to the climax and then it folds into the resolution. We have a narrative closure in this and the narrative aperture is set in this particular act. Scripting for non-fiction. Documentaries, news stories, instructional programs are some of the non-fiction programs that seem to share some common characteristics, and there is usually an emphasis on the actuality of presentations of real people, things, situations, actions and problems. They are often structured or organized to transmit the information to motivate people to change their attitudes or behavior. In addition to the elements of dramatic and narrative structure, the non-fiction scriptwriters utilize rhetorical and expository structure to present the argument and to convey information. Rhetorical and expository structure. Non-fiction scriptwriters know how to place and present information in a logical manner that facilitates understanding. Arguments are fashioned on the basis of rhetorical strategies. An argument can take the form of inartistic or artistic proof. Inartistic arguments or proof depends on factual material available, such as interviews with various participants, witnesses and observers. There are three types of artistic proof: ethical, emotional and demonstrative. An ethical proof relies heavily on the moral integrity and credibility of the speaker. An emotional proof relies on the appeal to audience emotions and feelings. A demonstrative proof relies on a series of expositions or showing which have opposite or alternative points of view. A precise script might rely on all of these different forms of proof and argument. The credibility of the source of an argument determines its effectiveness. Non-fiction scriptwriter uses dramatic as well as expository or otherwise known as descriptive structure. The overall structure of a documentary can obtain emotional power by building towards a climax, where a central problem or conflict is resolved. The pace of a non-fiction work is extremely important in terms of maintaining audience interest. The pace should vary to provide an effective emotional as well as a logical flow of events. The opening of a non-fiction video should define what the story is about, and it should serve as a hook to grab the viewer's attention, and it should be able to generate a sense of expectation. Presenting a problem or conflict in dramatic human terms is one of the best ways of gaining immediate audience attention. Short segments from longer interviews can be edited together to dramatize a conflict or to present alternative points of view at the start. The writer's job is to find a way in which the documentary's main idea, theme, point of view or conflict can be briefly dramatized in human terms that the intended audience will immediately understand. Later, towards a conclusion, a sense of completion and fulfillment can be achieved by providing a perfect ending that leaves a few questions raised in the opening sequence unanswered. News writing. News writing is a very challenging job, and the writer should always be updated with the current affairs and should be well connected with the information sources. The news writer should not write very complicated words. A viewer who happens to listen to a complicated word cannot refer a dictionary to understand the meaning of the word as they read a newspaper. The newspaper is a static medium and it can be read leisurely, but the audiovisual medium is a moving medium. Therefore, the audience has to cope with the speed of the movement. So, the words used should be simple and clearly pronounced. So, the success of news writing is not only in the hands of the writer, but also within the hands of the newsreader, technicians and the audience. When news clips are available, there is no need to describe what happened. The writer simply sets a context for viewing experience, establishes links or transitions between different stories and provides a limited summary or conclusion. When commentary accompanies images and sounds, it should identify key participants. News writing must be simple and conversational so that a newscaster can clearly and concisely communicate the essential information. Shocking or disturbing violent visuals should be clearly identified in advance, giving children and sensitive adults an opportunity to avoid them. News writers, like print reporters, must attribute information to specific sources to protect themselves from charges of falsehood. False broadcast news reports can have an immediate and profound effect on viewers. Techniques of news writing. The various techniques are: the language of the news should be very simple, clear and precise. Tongue twisters should not be used. Sometimes the reader may slip it off. New words can be included, but it should be repeated often so that the audience will be able to understand along with the context. Realistic style of writing is always preferred, without using figure of speech, phrases and ornamental words. Always arrange the news items by giving preference to the news of the day, followed by the national news, regional news, international news based on their importance. Now we move on to script writing formats. After completing the preliminary stages of script writing, the script writer will start to write the full script in one of the following confirmed script formats. It's called as split page, full page, or a semi-scripted format, script outline. Script writers rely on a basic set of terms or these common formats to effectively communicate with other members of production. Full page master scene script format. A full page master scene script format is frequently used in dramatic fiction programs, including single camera film and video productions and multiple camera live on tape productions such as television situation comedies. In a full page master scene script format, a single column which is devoted to both visuals and audio fills the entire page. The script is organized into scenes which are numbered in consecutive order. The location and the time of each scene are specified. Actions and camera movements are described in full paragraphs. Because a full page master scene script is organized by scenes, it can easily be reorganized so that all the scenes requiring a single set or location can be shot consecutively. What is split page script format? In a split page or dual column script, the visual information appears in one column on a sheet of paper and the audio information in the other column. The split page script format is often used for commercials and other forms of non-fiction production such as documentaries. The dialogue and narration are written on the audio side of the page. Visual images are indicated on the opposite side of the page. Visual cues and segment durations are written in full uppercase letters in the visual column, and any information in the script that should not be read on air is set in uppercase letters. What is semi-scripted formats? Some of the non-fiction television programs do not require full script in advance for production. Sports, talk show, game show, or even a documentary may only be partially scripted. A semi-scripted format may consist of a simple rundown sheet, which is a basic outline of the show from beginning to the end, indicating what material or performer is needed at specific times. It is organized on the basis of the running time of each segment and of the entire program. It is difficult to precisely script live or uncontrolled events. The questions to be asked during an interview show can be written in advance, but the answers cannot unless this interview is staged. The director or camera operator must be able to respond instantly to unpredictable events as they happen. The actual selection of shots to be used may be delayed to later stages of post-production. Only the general type of shot or action may be specified in a script outline. Now we'll give you an example for split page script format. In the column for video, we have multiple images of football game intermixing crowd scenes, band members, football players, coaches. Graphic instruction is given as SAC State Football Helmet logo and text graphic Sacramento State Football 2015. In the audio side, special effects instructions are given as high energy sounds of band music, contact sounds of football players colliding, fans cheering, coaches yelling, encouragement to players. In the video side, close-up of the coach Steve Mushiagin with graphic identifier is mentioned, and medium shots of touchdown pass, a blocked punt, touchdown pass, interception and return, and a 50-yard field goal sailing through the uprights. On the audio side, we have Mushajian says, this promises to be one of the most exciting seasons in state football history. Fans can expect a season of big offense and stingy defense. We are returning 8 starters on offense and 9 on defense. And our kicker is a candidate for All-American honors. Football fans can't find a better ticket in town. Cut to close-up. On the video side says, of student wearing SAC state hat and other garb. Student 2 leans in. On the audio side, we have the student. State football is more than football. In the video column, we have a mention of a wide shot of students dancing in the stands. And simultaneously in the audio column, we have student 2 saying it's a party. Now in the video side, we have cut to football player in uniform. In the audio column, we have the football player saying, don't miss the fun. Come to the game this Saturday at 6 p.m. Students can attend free. SEC State Football comes to the party at our house. In the video end, we have graphic instruction given as Sacramento State versus Utah. 6 p.m. at Hornet Stadium, students free with ID. In audio, the final input is like this: crowd noise and band music up and fade out, and video, it's fading to black. Such is the instruction given in a script of this nature. Now let's summarize what we have already heard of. The script has to undergo many stages to grow logically, intelligently, emotionally and creatively. Script is very important for the production details and instructions for making a budget. Planning is an essential part of any series production, and the script forms the basis for that plan. A good script helps the director to clarify the ideas and to develop a project that works. It also helps to coordinate the production team and to assess the resources needed for the production. The type of script used will largely depend on the kind of program. In some productions, particularly where talent improvise as they perform, the script simply lists details of the production group, the facilities needed and the scheduling requirements. It shows the basic camera positions. The questions under assignments are: what are the major stages in script writing? Next, discuss the major difference of fictional and non-fictional script writing. What are the major points while writing script for news? Discuss the major script writing formats. And finally, we have write a 5-minute television script of anything that you like. To make your study more interesting or more wider, we have a few references for you. You must go through Elements of Screenwriting, a guide for film and television writing, written by I.R. Blacker in 1996 and brought out by Pearson. You must go through Scripting Writing in Fundamentals of Television Production, written by Span and Donald. This was brought out in 2000 and published by Wiley Blackwell. Next, I would suggest Writing for Television, Radio and New Media. This is written by R.L. Hilliard and it was written in 2014 and brought out by Taxman Publications. You must also go through How to Write for Television, written by M.D. Imaggio. This was brought out in 2008 and published by Touchstone. I think you can also go through a book called Writing for Video in Video Production Handbook, which is written by Millison and Owens in 2008 and brought out by Focal Press. Another interesting book is Scripting Writing, Introduction to Media Production, The Path to Digital Media Production, 4th edition. This was written by Musburger and Kingdom in 2009 and brought out by Focal Press. With that, we come to the end of the session. I hope you enjoyed this session. It was useful for you. Until we meet again, it's a warm goodbye from all of us here.